The internet is exploding right now as a digital war of words has reportedly crossed a line that no one, not even the most hardened veterans of the rap game, ever thought possible. Hollywood is whispering about a desecration that defies logic, a move so reckless and so deeply personal that it has sent shockwaves through the very foundation of the industry. What started as a simple rumor of a petty social media feud between the G-Unit mogul and the heir to the Grand Hustle throne may now be something much bigger, something far more sinister, and something that could end in a tragedy that no one is prepared for. According to online speculation, a line was crossed in the dark of night at a sacred location that should have been off-limits to any earthly conflict. Some insiders claim that after King Harris posted a series of increasingly volatile videos targeting 50 Cent's lineage, a shocking discovery was made at the final resting place of 50's late mother, Sabrina. Unverified reports suggest that what was found at the site has left authorities and industry giants completely speechless, sparking a level of tension that feels like a ticking time bomb in the heart of the culture. Fans believe that we are no longer watching rap beef. We are witnessing a collapse of morality. Something darker may be unfolding as private investigators and digital sleuths begin to piece together a timeline that suggests a pre-planned provocation. As the images begin to surface on the dark corners of the web, the urgency is palpable. This isn't just entertainment anymore. This is a culture-shaking event that has the world holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable explosion that follows a strike against a man who has nothing left to lose. To understand how we reached this point of no return, we have to look back at the two houses currently at war. On one side, you have the House of Jackson. Curtis, 50 Cent. Jackson is a man whose entire life is a testament to survival. He is the man who turned 9 bullets into $1 billion empire, a man who survived the crack-era streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens, only to become the most feared executive in music and television. His public image is built on invincibility and a ruthless, chess-like approach to conflict. 50 doesn't just argue, he dismantles. But at the core of 50 Cent's hard exterior is the memory of his mother, Sabrina. She was the one who was taken too soon, the one whose death fueled his rise, and the one whose name he has protected with a ferocity that borders on the religious. For decades, her final resting place has been a sanctuary, a place of peace far removed from the headlines and the lawsuits. To the world, 50 Cent is a titan of industry, a troll extraordinaire, and a media genius. But to those who know him, the memory of his mother is the one thing you never, ever touch. On the other side, you have the House of Harris. T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South, built a legacy of Southern royalty, transitioning from the trap to the boardroom with unparalleled charisma. He raised his children in the spotlight, specifically his son, King Harris. King was introduced to the world as the spirited, outspoken prince on the family hustle. As he grew, his public image became that of a defiant defender of the Harris name, a young man eager to prove he had the same grit as his father. For years, things appeared perfect on the surface. The Harris family was the gold standard of hip-hop excellence, united, wealthy, and untouchable. King Harris was the internet's favorite wild card, known for his high-energy live streams and his willingness to go head-to-head with anyone who breathed a word against his parents. He positioned himself as the warrior for the Grand Hustle brand, often using his platform to crash out in defense of his family's honor. But then, the cracks began to show. The perfect image of the Harris family started to fracture as King's outbursts became more frequent and more personal. The digital world watched as the young prince began to target 50 Cent, reigniting a decades-old tension between their fathers. T.I. and 50 had a history of snitch allegations and competitive friction, but it was always handled with a certain level of veteran restraint. King, however, didn't have a filter. He didn't have the veteran's code. He only had a phone and a desire for clout. The narrative began to shift from a rap rivalry to a generational clash. King started posting videos that many saw as a direct provocation to the G-Unit boss. He mocked 50's television shows. He mocked his financial moves. And then, in a video that would change everything, he reportedly made a reference to 50's past, a past that is inextricably linked to his mother's tragedy. The internet gasped. "You don't bring up Sabrina." That was the unwritten rule. Initially, the public thought 50 Cent would handle it with a meme. He usually does. He usually takes a person's pride and turns it into a viral joke. But this time, the silence from the G-Unit camp was chilling. While King continued to post, fueled by the likes and the engagement, 50 Cent went dark. The cracks in the narrative were no longer just about family drama. They were about the looming threat of a man who was being poked in his most sensitive wound. The background was set. A young, impulsive prince seeking to solidify his street cred by attacking a man who had already survived death itself. The perfect facade of the family hustle was being replaced by the grim reality of a real-world confrontation. People began to wonder if T.I. could control his son, or if the King of the South was watching helplessly as his heir marched toward a cliff. The tension was building, the digital footprint was permanent, and the stage was set for a discovery that would leave the industry paralyzed with fear. The escalation phase began with a series of cryptic, grainy videos uploaded to King Harris's secondary social media accounts. These weren't the usual high-definition rants from his kitchen. These were filmed in the dead of night, with the location obscured by the darkness and the heavy Atlanta fog. Alleged leaks, clearly labeled as unverified by the blogs that picked them up, suggested that King was on a mission to prove that 50 Cent's tough guy persona was a myth. Social media reactions were instantaneous and polarized. Some fans cheered for the chaos, while others warned King that he was playing with fire. Then came the fan theories. Some digital sleuths claimed to have geolocated King's videos to a cemetery in New York, sparking a wave of panic across the internet. Industry whispers started to move through the grapevines. He's at the grave. He actually went there. Reportedly, King Harris posted a video, which was scrubbed within minutes, showing him standing in a graveyard, holding what some fans think was a Grand Hustle t-shirt and a bottle of expensive champagne. The claims were explosive. Allegedly, he began a narration where he challenged 50 Cent to come find him at the one place 50 would never expect. There was no confirmed evidence that he actually touched the headstone, but the implication alone was enough to set the world on fire. The escalation didn't stop there. Twitter wars broke out as G-Unit fans and Grand Hustle loyalists traded shots. Fan theories began to spiral into the extreme, with some suggesting that King had left a calling card at Sabrina Jackson's grave. Unverified reports from local New York neighborhood watches claimed that a black SUV with Georgia plates was seen idling near the cemetery gates in the early hours of the morning. Online communities reacted with a mixture of horror and fascination. Some theories suggested that King was being manipulated by older industry figures who wanted to see 50 Cent distracted. Others claimed that King was simply clout chasing to a dangerous degree. But the most terrifying claim, reportedly coming from an insider leak within the cemetery's security team, suggested that when the mourning crew arrived, they found something that made them call the authorities immediately. Keep in mind, everything here is framed as allegedly and reportedly. No direct criminal accusations have been confirmed, and no police reports have been officially released to the public. However, the industry whispers suggest that what was found wasn't just trash or a t-shirt. It was something ritualistic in its placement, a message designed to inflict maximum psychological pain. The escalation moved from the digital space to the physical world. 50 Cent's associates began posting cryptic images of retribution and loyalty. The social media chaos was unprecedented. Every major gossip blog was running headlines about the grave defacement, despite the lack of confirmed facts. The public was hungry for the truth, but the truth was being buried under a mountain of fan theories and unverified leaks. Some fans think that the video King posted was actually a deep fake or a green screen production designed to stir up controversy for a new music video. They argue that King wouldn't be that reckless. But other fans point to King's history of crashing out and argue that his desire to be seen as a real one would drive him to cross any boundary. The industry was in a state of paralysis. If King had actually gone to the grave, the response from 50 Cent wouldn't be a meme. It would be a total war. As the escalation reached its peak, the silence from the Harris household became deafening. T.I. and Tiny, usually so active on social media, were nowhere to be found. This led to more theories. Were they trying to fix the situation behind the scenes? Were they in shock? Or were they preparing for a legal defense? The escalation had moved beyond rap beef. It had become a question of sacred boundaries and the consequences of breaking them. The world was waiting for the reveal, the moment the speechless discovery would finally be described. The emotional breakdown of this controversy occurred in the late hours of a Thursday night, and it started with a viral live stream that will be studied for years as a cautionary tale of the clout era. King Harris appeared on screen, but he wasn't the confident prince the world knew. He was in a dark room, his face illuminated only by the blue light of his second phone. He looked frantic, his eyes darting toward the door every few seconds. "Y'all don't understand the pressure," he reportedly shouted into the camera, his voice cracking with an emotional intensity that felt like a mental snap. "Everyone wants me to be him. Everyone wants me to be the king. I had to do something. I had to make them feel me." The stream was a chaotic mess of half-confessions and defensive rants. He seemed to be responding to a deleted tweet from 50 Cent that allegedly read, "You should have stayed in the house, little man. Now the house is coming for you." Fan reactions were trending globally within minutes. People were begging him to turn the camera off, to call his father, to stop talking. But the breakdown continued. He began to weep, claiming that he was being set up by people he thought were his friends. He mentioned the grave in a way that felt like an admission, but then quickly walked it back, claiming he was just playing a character. The tension in the digital space was so thick you could feel it through the screen. Then came the cryptic social media post from T.I. It was a photo of a single rose in a glass of water, captioned with, "A father's greatest fear is the path his son chooses when he stops listening." The post was a somber, devastating realization of a parent who had lost control. It wasn't a defense of the king, it was a mourning of him. The internet exploded again. If Tip wasn't defending him, then King was truly alone. The emotional breakdown wasn't just King's. It was a collective collapse of the Grand Hustle legacy. A deleted tweet from an account reportedly belonging to one of T.I.'s older children read, "We told him to stop. We begged him. He wanted to be a legend. Now he's a target." The tension was building toward a reveal that no one wanted to hear. The speechless discovery at the grave was being described in hushed tones on Clubhouse and Discord. Unverified reports from insiders, who claimed to have seen the police photos, suggested that what King left at Sabrina's grave was a collection of personal items belonging to the Harris family. A direct link, an invitation to a blood feud. Some fans think it was a curse or a ritualistic message. While these are just theories, the emotional weight of the claim sent King into a spiral of public regret. Another viral live stream moment showed King being confronted by an off-camera voice that many fans believe was his mother, Tiny. The voice was heard screaming, "Do you have any idea what you've done? Do you know who that man is?" King's response was a hollow, haunting silence before the stream cut to black. The emotional intensity had reached its peak. This wasn't a game. This was a young man realizing that he had poked a sleeping giant in the most unforgivable way. The fan reactions moved from tea to tragedy. People were posting about the curse of the crown and how the pursuit of fame had destroyed a young man's soul. The emotional breakdown segment of this story showed a family in total disarray, a legacy in ashes, and a prince who was finally realizing that some boundaries are made of iron. The suspense was no longer about the beef. It was about whether King Harris would even make it through the week without a total psychological collapse. As the world watched the breakdown, the speechless discovery at the grave became the focal point of every conversation. What did they find? Why was the security team so shaken? The emotional tension was a prelude to the industrial fallout that was about to follow. The world was waiting for the King of the South to speak, or for the G-Unit boss to strike. But first, the industry had to react. The industry reaction was a chilling study in corporate and creative distancing. This is the part of the documentary where the glamour of hip-hop is stripped away, revealing the cold, hard machinery of reputation management. Within 24 hours of the grave rumors going viral, the atmosphere around Grand Hustle changed from royal to radioactive. Frame everything as an observation. Major brands that had been associated with the Harris family for years, clothing lines, beverage companies, and lifestyle brands, began to go silent. Their social media managers stopped tagging King, and his images were reportedly scrubbed from upcoming promotional materials. This wasn't a public statement of condemnation. It was a quiet, clinical unfollowing. The industry was watching the temperature, and the temperature was at an all-time high. Public figures began posting cryptic quotes about respecting the dead and the laws of the universe. Legends from the 90s and 2000s, men who had seen real wars in the streets, were posting about boundaries and the line you never cross. There were no public defenses of King Harris. Not a single one. Even his father's closest allies were reportedly unavailable for comment. The media's silence from the official Grand Hustle accounts was the most telling sign of all. Media's silence from the major networks, who usually thrive on this kind of drama, was replaced by breaking news segments on independent channels. The observation was clear. The industry was terrified of 50 Cent's reaction. To defend King was to put yourself in 50's crosshairs, and in 2026, that is a career-ending move. Public figures were unfollowing the King in waves. Insiders note that even some of his friends in the Atlanta scene were distancing themselves, claiming they hadn't talked to him in months. Unverified reports suggested that a major festival headliner slot that was allegedly in negotiations for King was indefinitely paused. Brands going silent was a ripple effect that touched every part of the Harris economy. It wasn't just King who was being affected, it was the entire Grand Hustle ecosystem. The observation of the industry's reaction showed a collective consensus. King Harris had become a liability that no one wanted to insure. The media's silence from the big three gossip outlets was broken only by blind items that hinted at this speechless discovery. They described a scene of absolute disrespect and a message that cannot be repeated on air. This only added to the suspense. If the media was afraid to describe it, what could it possibly be? Some fans believe that the industry reaction was a coordinated blackout designed to prevent a physical escalation, but others saw it as a total abandonment of the Prince of the South. Public figures were posting cryptic videos of themselves listening to 50 Cent's Many Men, a song about survival and retribution. It was a subtle, digital way of taking a side without saying a word. The observation of these posts showed a shift in the culture's loyalty. 50 Cent was the veteran, the survivor, the man who honored his mother. King was the nephew who had forgotten his place. The industry reaction was a moral judgment passed in real time. As the brands went silent and the public figures retreated, the focus shifted back to the cemetery. Unverified reports from local New York media claimed that a private security force had been hired by an anonymous mogul to guard Sabrina Jackson's grave 24/7. The media, silence from 50 Cent himself, continued to be the most terrifying part of the story. He didn't post a meme. He didn't go live. He was reportedly in deep consultation with his legal and security teams. The industry reaction showed that while hip-hop loves beef, it hates desecration. The observation of the unfollows and the cryptic quotes painted a picture of a man who was now an island. King Harris was alone in his dark room, while the industry he wanted to rule was quietly closing its doors on him. The suspense was building toward the reveal of the discovery, the twist that would explain why everyone was so speechless. But then, just as the world was prepared for the worst, something happened that no one saw coming. A twist that shattered every theory the internet had constructed. A dramatic shift occurred when a new voice entered the conversation, and it wasn't a rapper or a blogger. It was a renowned digital forensics expert who claimed to have analyzed the grave video that started it all. Example. But then something happened no one saw coming. The forensic expert released a report claiming that the video King Harris posted wasn't filmed in a real cemetery. A resurfaced clip from a behind-the-scenes vlog of a low-budget horror film showed the exact same headstone and the exact same background tree scene in King's video. The speechless discovery wasn't a desecration, it was a fabrication. The twist? According to unverified reports, King Harris had reportedly hired a movie set to simulate a visit to the grave to provoke 50 Cent for a reality show plotline. But the twist gets darker. Some insiders claim that while the video was fake, someone else saw the video and went to the real grave to frame King Harris. A new voice entered the conversation. A witness who claimed to have seen a rival crew at the actual Sabrina Jackson headstone on the same night the video dropped. The twist was dramatic but speculation-based. Was King Harris the victim of his own stunt? Did he create a fake provocation that invited a real retribution from a third party? The industry was thrown into a tailspin. If the video was fake, But the discovery at the real grave was real. Then who was actually behind it? A resurfaced clip of 50 Cent from 5 years ago showed him saying, "The easiest way to get someone is to let them think they're getting you." This led to a theory that has left the world speechless. Some fans think 50 Cent knew about King's plan and counterstaged the discovery at the grave to make King look like a monster. The twist suggests a level of psychological warfare that is beyond anything seen in hip-hop history. A new voice, a former G-Unit employee, claimed that 50 Cent has eyes everywhere and knew about the movie set before the first frame was shot. The dramatic shift moved the conversation from grave defacement to the ultimate setup. But why would King Harris be sentenced or goodbye forever if it was a stunt? Unverified reports suggest that the speechless discovery at the real grave, the one reportedly left by the rival crew, included evidence that pointed directly to King Harris, including his DNA on a discarded item. If he wasn't there, how did his DNA get there? The twist suggests a darker unfolding, where King's own associates may have betrayed him to 50 Cent. Keep it dramatic. A resurfaced clip changed everything. Fans began to rewatch King's emotional breakdown live stream, looking for signs that he was acting or signs that he was realizing he had been framed. The twist has left the audience in a state of total confusion. Who was the villain? Who was the victim? And what did they actually find that was so speechless? The most explosive claim, reportedly from a leaked police memo, suggested that the item found at the grave was a confession note written in King's handwriting. But the forensic experts say the ink was fresh, while the handwriting was too perfect. This points to a forgery. The twist is a labyrinth of lies and digital manipulation. The goodbye forever isn't about a prison cell. It's about the total loss of reality. King Harris may have tried to kill the king, but he may have ended up killing his own future in the process. As the twist settled in, the world was left with a chilling cliffhanger. If it was a setup, will 50 Cent reveal the truth, or will he let the prince burn in the court of public opinion? The new voice in the conversation has gone silent, and the resurfaced clips are being deleted as fast as they are found. The suspense is unbearable. The speechless discovery at the grave has changed the game, but the players are still in the shadows. This brings us to the final, haunting question that has the entire culture on edge. Is this the end for the Harris dynasty, or just the beginning of a war that will redraw the maps of hip-hop? We have seen the prince unravel on live stream. We have seen the industry turn its back, and we have heard the whispers of a discovery so dark it left the world speechless. But in a world of deep fakes, movie sets, and psychological warfare, what can we actually believe? Was it all love or strategy? Did King Harris truly believe he could take on a man who survived 9 bullets? Or was he a pawn in a game he didn't even know he was playing? According to online speculation, the sentencing of King Harris in the court of public opinion is already complete. But what about the real world? What about the discovery at the grave? Is this the end, or just the beginning? Some insiders claim that the next move from the G-Unit camp will be the final blow to the Grand Hustle legacy. But fans believe that T.I. still has an ace up his sleeve. The suspense is at a breaking point, and the world is waiting for the one piece of evidence that will finally silence the rumors. We want to hear from you. The internet is exploding, but your voice is the one that matters. Do you believe King Harris actually went to the grave, or was he framed by a master of the game? Was this speechless discovery a message from the streets, or a warning from the grave? Drop your theories in the comments below. Like this video if you think a line was crossed, and subscribe right now, because the second the police report leaks, we will be the first to break it down. Don't look away. The vault is open, the crown is shaking, and the goodbye forever might be closer than you think. What do you think they found? Tell us your most explosive theory and stay tuned, because this story is just getting started. Is it all a game? Or is the king finally facing his match? Comment now.